Welcome to Tour Buds Live. I am your host, Andy, and I just finished shoving a wrap in my face right before we went live. And I am with my co-host, Derek G. What's up, buddy?
What's happening, Andy? Thanks for tuning in to Tour Buds, everybody. This is a show for musicians, for advice, to listen and learn how to be a touring band, how to progress in this industry. And yeah, we're here today with a super awesome guest. Andy, what have you been up to today?
We have a great guest coming up very shortly. I don't know if I'm too low right now. We have Andreas Bjulver Pohub. I hope I pronounced that right. I've been practicing it.
No shot.
I think I came close.
All right,
but
we'll go with it.
He's a fucking super talented musician, great vocalist, lyricist. I'm looking forward to chatting with him very shortly. Derek, I want to say this real quick. All are welcome here. I'll say that every episode. We do not discriminate. We love every single person. We don't care who you love or who you don't, whatever. We want everyone here. We love you. We care about you. We care about people. We care about people in music. So this is a safe place. Derek, dude, let me real quick. My life has changed immediately, like so much the last couple weeks. It's been crazy. I used to be in engineering, designing plumbing and sprinkler systems, but I made the jump into full-time like film and production and editing.
I love that for you.
And then trying to push our TV show that we're doing as well.
I love it.
So for those of you who don't know, thank you for being here. For those of you who don't know, we are shooting a TV show kind of like this, but actually at the venues with bands and stuff like that. And so now I'm kind of jumping into the deep end after doing engineering for a large portion of my adult life. And now I'm just like, I just like thought, as you get older, you don't want to waste time just doing shit that you fucking hate. And now I'm kind of jumped into something where I'm like dipping into my own funds to do.
Yep.
I am not really getting paid yet, but like I don't care. I just need to fucking do this. I don't care if I have to figure it out and sleep on the floor. It's just like it's time. You know what I mean?
Happiness, man. Happiness.
You know what I was thinking about?
What were you thinking?
I was thinking like the happiest moments of my life were when like the moments where I was broke, but I was on tour. I was doing what I loved. And I want to go back to that because I think the money will come if you pursue what you want. Hard,
100%. And I love that you're doing it because you were not a very happy man doing your engineering.
I was not happy. But I'm really excited to talk to Andreas because I know that he's also in the same world as that. I think we should just bring him on because I want to dive in. I just want to dive right in with him.
All right, let's go.
With no further ado, Mr. Andreas Bjulver Pohub.
Close.
Pretty close. Damn it. How close was I?
Pretty close. The first one was there. The other one is Pohub.
Pohub?
With an R instead of an H in the middle. Pohub.
Pohub.
Yeah.
Pohub. Okay. Yeah. You know what? I think it's important to at least give it a shot because we want to honor you and respect the shit out of you. I don't know. I was trying to do as much info searching on you as possible. I don't think anyone actually even tried to do that. You know that? Maybe people in Denmark because that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not Americans here, but you know what? We're not lazy Americans in this show. We're not.
Oh, yeah.
We give a fuck.
Industrious Americans.
Dude, thank you so much for being here. It means a lot to us.
Thanks for having me.
Derek, tell everyone how we know Mr. Andreas.
So we met Andreas in Brooklyn. He was on tour. Cabal was on tour with Float Omen, Born Anew, and I think they linked up with a few others like Monochromatic Black. Was that the same tour?
It wasn't. Yeah, that was that tour as well.
Yeah. So we met him there while we were shooting our show. We filmed and interviewed Float Omen and Born Anew. unfortunately didn't get a time to do Cabal, but hopefully next time around when they make a visit, we can make that happen.
Oh yeah, we'll make it happen.
Great time. But yeah, Andy, what was that show was pretty sick. It was at Kingsland, which I don't believe exists any longer. I think that place is gone now.
Possible.
Isn't it?
Hey, you know what? Real quick, Andreas, do you know that the Greek origin of your name is manly or brave?
Yeah, I've heard that. My parents told me.
I just wanted to say that to you because you are very manly. You're a very attractive man, and you're
Thank you.
very brave. You're very brave for being on this show. So I respect the shit out of that.
Maybe
Thank
like most like stupid. I don't know. That's also true. There's like an overlap between those two things.
What do you have Viking descent in your lineage?
Oh yeah, I'm like very Scandinavian.
Yeah.
I can tell.
Do you know like stories from your family?
No,
What were they? No.
I don't know anything that far back. I know I have mostly Scandinavian and some gypsy blood. That's kind of like it.
Are you curious? Do you ever think about it? Like what?
Honestly, not really.
No, you don't give a shit.
No, I think like stuff like that is exciting, but it's not exciting enough for me to kind of like figure it out. Like,
yeah, you're on your own music adventures and touring.
Yeah,
let me say something about your city of Copenhagen. Oh, Copenhagen. I love it. I was there in 2019, right before the pandemic, and it was beautiful. And I want to share a picture of myself there. This is what I am like. This is me in Copenhagen.
Is that the ice place thing?
Yeah, that's the ice bar.
Yeah.
I've
never been.
Yeah, I figured. You know why? Because
Only
I figured
Americans.
it's very touristy.
Yeah, it's
because
funny
like who is going to willingly sit on ice?
Yeah, not me. Like there's so much snow and cold here normally. I'm like I try to avoid it if I can.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But I just wanted to let you know that I've been there. I love it, and that's just me. I take it in. And what are your thoughts? Have you ever? I know you're from there, but I, for instance, have gone on a pub crawl in New York. I'm in New York City. Have you ever done that? Have you ever been on a pub crawl?
Oh yeah, I have. When I was studying, that was kind of like a thing that would happen every now and then with like everybody on the university would go out to different pubs and stuff. I haven't done it like in ages. I've honestly cut down on my drinking a lot.
Same.
That's good.
Yeah, it's for the best.
You kind of have to as you get older, I think, unless you fully commit. If you fully commit to being an alcoholic, then you could do it. But then if you don't plan on that, you just got to cut back, I think.
Yeah, I don't think that's in the cards for me.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. You have a bright future ahead of you, sir.
Hopefully.
But you know what? Go ahead.
No, if it fails, I could try out being alcoholic.
Yeah, no, there's always trying, right?
Yeah, there's a lot. We have in Denmark, I think 10% of the population is classified as alcoholics. We have a really bad drinking culture.
Really?
Yeah,
so all normal.
Yeah, it's all major holidays are centered around drinking. Youth drinking is very prevalent. I think I started drinking when I was 13, and that's it wasn't frowned upon. It was pretty normal.
Wow. Really? So did it start at home, I guess? So it was super normal?
Yeah, it's kind of just with friends and stuff. I think it's pretty normal for kids, early teens, to start to experiment with drinking. You can buy it when I was a kid, you could buy alcohol when you're 15.
Mm-hmm.
I think you still can. I think you have to be 16 now. I think it changed it a bit, but
that's young. That's I mean, call me prude. Call me a prude, but I feel like that's a little young.
Yeah, it is very young. I don't think I would necessarily recommend people of that age to drink, but when you're that age and you kind of you want to drink because everybody's drinking, so
yeah, I think it's cool. But what's interesting about especially being in Europe and that part of your country is and the the pub crawls. It's so funny because you go there and like the first round, the first bar is always like everyone's cold and stiff and no one knows each other and everyone's kind of like eyeing each other out. You get some drinks. Then the second bar, you start to loosen up. All right, I'm chilling. And then third bar, everyone's best friends and ready to fucking go. And I think there is something to be said about doing that once in a blue moon. Just meeting new people, going out and having a good time.
It is a good way to get to know people. You kind of like drop the guard a little bit, especially with us Scandinavians. We are known to be kind of cold and standoffish, and kind of like keep to ourselves. And then we get a few beers in, and we're everybody's best friends. And
yes, and then you go to a club and dance it out. I myself am not a great dancer, but
me neither. But I'll try. Give me like 10 beers, and I'll fucking show you some moves.
Yeah, you got to get on the dance floor.
Yeah. Do you like to get your boogie on? You like to shake the hips a little bit?
Normally not really, but every once in a blue moon, like last Saturday, I was at a techno club until like 6 a.m. So I was like dancing my ass off.
What? That's sick. Do you have footage of that that you're willing to give?
No, it's one of those clubs where we have to put like a little sticker over your phone camera because no pictures are allowed.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, so is that like that place in Germany, Bargain?
It's kind of like in the same vein. You have like dark rooms where people just are fucking. And, like, it's very European.
Did you partake in any of that?
Maybe.
Oh, dude! Take me through that experience. You walk in, you're like, oh. No, take me through that experience. So like you're walking into this crazy club, you can't take videos, everyone's fucking. Do you just like kind of point and you're like, hey, what's up? You start smooching someone, or how does that work?
I feel like at first I was there with some friends who were just like exploring, like, hey, let's see what all of this is about, because I hadn't been to that specific club before. So places like that is always kind of an adventure. We're just like walking around, and then for a little while, got some drinks, started dancing, like, and you'll kind of like connect with people, like.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Is that I know you obviously play like super aggressive heavy metal. Is that something you like to do a lot? You go to disco clubs or like techno clubs and stuff like that?
Not a lot.
Not really?
Like, I think it's been years since I was at one last time. No, actually, I was at a rave in Germany last tour, but maybe once or twice a year I'll go to something like that.
What's the craziest thing that you've seen at one of these places?
I don't know, just like last time I think it was like just a bunch of dudes fucking each other. That was kind of wild.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a full on like
interesting walk in.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, what's up, dude, guys?
Do you feel like maybe that's like desensitized? Like I feel like the more you watch like porn or something like that, the crazier shit you have to watch or get, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I've noticed one thing I have noticed, like there's a big difference between America and Europe is like it feels like over here people are less scared of sex and the naked body. And I think I kind of grew up with that. It's like not as big of a deal to me, if that makes sense, as I sense it is to some other people.
No, that is so true. For me, I grew up an absolute fucking savage because my parents were all over the place. But then in my teen years, I grew up in like church. So then you become very Christian, and then you're taught that like just being a human is not good.
Yeah, that like the way you're born is like unnatural, where it's like the most natural thing in the fucking world.
But I'll tell you what, Andreas, it takes a long time to get the fuck out of that mentality. For me, like getting out of Christianity, like getting out of like a cult, it takes it takes its toll on you. It's like getting out of that, you feel still uncomfortable being a human being, or like, even having sex with random people or something. It's just like weird. You feel dirty and gross.
Yeah, but you got kind of been programmed to feel that way.
Yeah, I much would rather have grown up like in a more open scenario. I feel like that's like it teaches you to have less ego, right?
Yeah.
Like that person is not yours. Like it's not people. They're not just things to have, right? Like people are just like people, and you could just be.
Exactly. I think in Denmark we are also like very not religious at all. Like I think 80 something 8% of the population don't believe in anything.
Do you think that's
Yeah.
partly why you guys are happy?
I also think like the whole happiness thing is a misconception. I don't really know where it comes from. I think I know where it comes from. Like we have some of the highest living standards in the world, but we also have big issues with like alcoholism and like depression and stuff because it's like no fucking sun half of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. So we have a lot of like people who are on like what's called antidepressants and stuff like that, and a high suicide rate. So I don't think we're the happiest. I keep hearing that, but I'm like, I think it's being mixed up with people have like in general we have pretty good lives. We have like you get paid to go to school and stuff like that. We have a great social security network.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you lose your job, you're not gonna end up on the fucking street. Like so in general we have it pretty good here. But people are I don't think that necessarily equates to happiness.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
there is an overlap between the two, and one like having a good quality of life will make it easier for you to be happy, but it won't necessarily make you happy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get
Definitely.
it. It's kind of you're diving into like fulfillment,
Yeah.
and people have to find their own way. But I'll tell you what, I'll take that life over, I don't know, like $10 eggs and like fucking my rent is like, I don't know. I live in New York City. Everything's just fisting me up the ass, like no
Dude.
lube style.
Copenhagen is mad expensive as well. It's one of the most expensive cities in Europe as well.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. It's gotten really bad like lately. Like when the inflation hit, everything fucking doubled in prices, all like groceries. Like so in general, when we go to the States, I'm like, oh fuck, things are cheap here. I can just go like so nice. And I know that's
Probably
Wow.
get a discount.
yeah. I'm like, I can go out and eat every day. It's kind of like affordable here.
Speaking of the States and you coming to the States, what was your tour like when we met you, when you went on the tour with Born Anew and Float Omen? Because I know half of your band wasn't with you, but how was that experience?
It was a fun experience. Like the guys from Born Anew has become some of our best friends. Like in the scene, we did a tour with them over here in Europe, like spring, early summer 22, and then Sax, the drummer, has been filling in for us for some tours in the States. The guitarist Chip has been driving us and also filling in like now and then. So we're really close knit with those guys. So just hanging out with them was really nice. Float Dome and a bunch of really nice dudes. Their drummer Dom was filling in for us.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that. Yeah, dude, he's a beast.
Yeah.
That tour in general underperformed quite a bit, I'd say. The whole like setup around it was a little bit messy, but we ended up just doing it basically to hang out with all the new guys. Like whatever, fuck it, we'll.
And then you came back shortly after for was it Summer Slaughter?
Yeah.
And how was that?
That was pretty fun. Like we had a really good
it
time.
looks pretty solid.
Yeah, that was like that was all the I don't know if you followed all the controversy around that tour. Like
I saw some.
Yeah.
Did that stuff like affect you guys?
Yeah, a little bit. Like the turnouts could have been better, but I'm not gonna complain about playing to 600 kids every day at like 4 p.m.
Right. Right.
Like,
Wait, what was the controversy? Because I'm actually not privy to this.
So people were kind of mad about the lineup because Cannibal Corpse wasn't on it or something like that. Like there wasn't a lot. It was like more core-oriented bands and not the mixture of like core bands and death metal bands that had historically kind of been it. Not it hasn't. I just think that's how people remember it. When you look at the posters, it wasn't like that every time. But that's kind of what people wanted, and there was some like people reacting poorly to like the lineup, and then the person who was running the Summer Slaughter Instagram page was just like writing, like going really hard, like attacking like people who were like leaving negative comments, and just reflected really badly on it. So it was handled very poorly.
Yeah, that's tough. He was just
Yeah.
it's hard when you just attack all of the people that you're trying to get to buy tickets and
Yeah, that
enjoy
wasn't a great move.
the show.
Oh,
Not the best move.
Yeah, so that was a whole thing. Like, but and it was a really good tour for us. Like, we had a lot of fun. We made a bunch of new friends. We're touring with some of our like people we were already friends with and toured with before. So we honestly had like, in spite of that, we had a blast.
Good.
when
What? Oh, go ahead, Andy.
I was gonna say, obviously you're so mild mannered and kind and chill, but when you're on stage, you transform into an absolute demon,
Oh,
like
thank you.
in a great fucking way. Like you're very entertaining. What do you have to do to get into that mindset to transform into that on stage Andreas?
Not really a lot. I think it's just kind of like so. Most of the stuff I write about is some dark shit. So it's very natural when I'm singing those lyrics. It takes you to a place of kind of like aggression and anger and like kind of emotions. So it's kind of like just me letting it all out. Where like, and then I can go down and be chill again.
But does it take you? I see on films, if you look at some of the behind the scenes when actors have to work themselves up. I've never sang before. I only play the drums, so I always wanted to. But when you are in that zone and you're yelling, you're screaming, you have all these lyrics in your head, does it take you some time to calm down from that and come down from that?
Sometimes I'll have like you have to like this surge of adrenaline. So every now and then, like right after a show, like I'm like my brain is just going like so I'm like I feel a little stupid after.
So you
mixed up.
you kind of become like hyper aware of you becoming this thing.
Yeah, I'll just like after it's still in your body, and it takes a little while to die out, and yeah, and while that's going on, so right after people ask me questions about stuff in interviews, I don't know what I get. I almost can't answer shit. I don't know. It's just going 1,000 miles a minute in my head. Like
Still in that blur section
Yeah.
of playing. Does that happen for you as well? Like you'll be up there going nuts, and then it's just like the set's over, and you're like, "Oh shit, I think that was great. I don't remember."
yes, like
But,
a lot of
yeah.
the times I don't really remember specifics from the show. I remember the feeling of like, oh, this is good. Sometimes something happens that like kind of like gets stuck in my memory, but like a lot of the time, I'm like kind of becomes a blur a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I feel that's one of those things me and Eddie talk about sometimes. It's like it's like an impossible thing to recreate in any other scenario than being on stage. It's like that special thing.
Yeah, it's this weird fucking rush or high that you get from it. That's kind of like I haven't gotten that anywhere else.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best. It's fucking best.
I
But when
agree.
you get off stage, do you have to go to your vehicle to calm down for like, all right, I need some fucking alone time? Or are you just ready to jump in and talk to people?
I am straight down to the merch because normally like I'll run our merch, so I'm just running down and I'll just try. I'm always really bad at it right after. I'm like sweating and everything's still going. I'm like have to ask people about like what they're trying to order like 5 times because it goes in and like
That's great. Good man, getting to the merch though.
I could imagine that because you're just like, you just got done yelling at fucking hundreds of kids, yelling back at you, your own fucking lyrics. You're going nuts, and then you have to go into business mode. It's almost not fair.
No, but it's kind of like the way I view it is like I don't have any gear, so and I'm the worst with gear. Like I am the opposite of like a gear nerd. I don't know anything. I have a microphone. I know which end to yell in. That's kind of it. So I'm like, I'm not gonna be like the typical like singer douchebag and let all the guys do like the heavy lifting without contributing. So I'm gonna I'll go run merch then because we need somebody to do that.
So if you don't have a merch guy, do you keep the tips then?
We all split them like, so that's the one thing. We are like, Denmark is a socialist country, so it's kind of like in our DNA. We usually just divide it on the entire tour, because my reasoning is like, okay, I might be in the merch getting the tips, but the other guys are still pulling their weight. They're out carrying the gear, putting that into like the trailer, and nobody's gonna come up and give you money for that. So we're all pulling our weight equally. So why should I take more than them?
I like
Derek, Derek, you see this, Derek? That's beautiful.
it. That is. I like that a
We
lot.
need more. We do need more of that here. We need more of that.
Yeah, I agree. Like I'm very red when like comes to
Yeah.
we like we're a socialist country. I grew up like that, and I like it. I like the idea of everybody helping each other out. Like,
Yeah, especially on the road, it's super important. I mean,
Yeah.
for you and the other bands and everybody to work together, because if you don't, things could go sideways really quickly.
yeah, it's also, if you want to like keep people in your band, like the way I don't take more money than, like, even though as of now I'm like in the touring party, we have like one guy, me and him writes all the music. He doesn't tour. He's like a full-time producer, so he stays back.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't take like a higher pay than the other guys in the band, even though I write.
We're gonna get it. We're gonna get into that, Andreas. I want to talk about Chris because I have a problem with that. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a problem with it. But we're gonna get into that. Don't you fucking worry about that, all right, guy?
Yeah.
Um.
But yeah, I'm just a really big believer of kind of like sharing everything equally, because everybody has bills to pay. We all need to like put food on the table, and if we're out doing the same job, we're gonna divide it equally. And I don't care.
If you eat, your homies eat. I love it.
Yeah. Exactly.
We love that, Derek. Right,
Yes, sir.
Derek. We love that.
I like to share. It's true.
Derek loves to share. I love to share too, but Derek really loves to share. Derek is a generous man. Hey, so you started in music actually playing guitar though.
Yeah.
And you said you admittedly from your mouth said you sucked at it.
Yeah. Well, I could play a little bit, but I was at a boarding school, and it was like when I was some friends wanted to start a band. I wanted to play like metalcore in the kind of vein of Parkway Drive and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And but those riffs are kind of hard, so I was trying out like, ain't no fucking way I'm learning this shit.
But did you start out like, because I started on guitar as well, and I just played, there's a Green Day song where it's like just one chord just moved down. It's like dead end, dead end, dead end, dead end, dead end, dead end. You know that song from Green Day?
I've never really been a big Green Day fan, but
yeah, okay. Well, maybe I'm a little older, and like Green Day was like a big thing in the early 90s. But that's what I played on guitar, and I sucked as well, and I went to the drums. So I think
the drums are fucking hard as well.
Very hard.
Yeah.
For some, I guess.
Some of the early stuff I learned was like obviously like the fucking Seven Nation Army, all that really like Smoke Underwater, that bullshit. And then I learned like I could play a few Hatebreed songs, kind of like some of the earlier, more simple stuff, a little bit of chugging, some power chords. But having to do fucking tapping and all that shit, I'm like, no.
Did we give up? Did we give up on that dream, Andreas? Are we done with guitar?
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. I'm so done.
Oh god, it doesn't even touch him anymore.
For fucking half of my life, like.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, I did play bass for in a few bands, like
there we go.
Cabal.
It's an easy guitar. I feel you.
Exactly, the cool guitar.
That's it. That's me. I started playing bass, and I played bass all through, and then probably in the last few years, just because playing bass by yourself sometimes is boring, so I started to learn the guitar a little bit. But bass is the thing.
Yeah, bass is sick because you can like the songs are easier for you. You can move around a lot more.
Absolutely.
And also, if you play at a show where there's like a sick sound system, like you have a sick amp, like bass feels really good.
Yes, it does.
So good.
Just make everything fucking rumble.
Would you ever be interested in maybe doing a project with us with just all bass and then just drums? Just like I'm saying like 3 bass players and a drummer.
Hell yeah. I'm down.
Andy's been pushing for this bass band the last few
just
episodes.
all bass. Exactly.
Do you have a
I'm trying-
name?
Not yet.
Ooh.
That's gonna be heavy.
Yeah. Well,
What do you
it's
think?
ba-
What do you think
it's
for like a name?
Maybe
I
like
don't
the
really know about-
basement dwellers.
the basement dwell. That's a pretty. Oh, yeah, that's it. That's the one.
Basement.
But like, our band is basically 3 bass players. Like we tuned the guitars down, right? Oh, we actually tuned up a little bit for this album, but it used to be like an F.
Mm-hmm. That's
like-
pretty.
So
That's pretty
you
loud.
guys basically bass strings you were using on the guitars. So like,
you guys play in drop Z.
oh no, drop F.
That's
And then the
amazing.
bass was in like double F, like an octave below.
That's
And now
insane.
Yeah.
We moved all the way up to G, so you can kind of hear like a little bit more.
Look at you. Look at you
Yeah,
guys.
Insane.
Growing.
Love it. Hey, so you mentioned before that I know Chris is the main writer, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the deal with that? Because I mean, I love that you have someone that could write and record in the band, right? He also records and produces, and he does a fabulous job. He does a fucking fabulous job. Kudos to Chris. But why I feel like he's getting away with the easy fun part. Like I think he's pulling the wool over your eyes by saying he's doing hard work. No, he's in a lab with the fucking pen and the pad and he's just fucking chilling out, probably smoking a doob every day. Chilling.
even
And you
do
guys
that.
are on the road on the grind. He's sending you guys out. I
Yeah,
have an issue with that.
I love touring. It's fun. Like sometimes it sucks, but a lot of the time, like for me, like I also really like writing music, but playing live is where it's at for me. That's like the big one.
Yeah.
And it's not like
Chris
that for
doesn't
him.
like it. Chris doesn't
No,
like
not
it.
anymore. He used to tour a lot with his old band, and he has like 2 little kids now, so it's
Tough.
not. And he's a full-time producer, so if he leaves, the kind of like the schedule kind of like gets all fucked up. He's like, "Oh, I'm gone for a month. You guys have to like push back."
Yeah, I mean, look, we love Chris, right? We love him.
Yeah,
But I think it'd be
Alright.
nice to see him out there because he's getting the accolades. He's in the promo pics still,
yeah,
and
yeah.
he's getting his face out there. But he's not in the trenches.
Does he
No.
play? He plays with you guys at home, I would assume, or
No,
no?
he used to for a
He
while.
just
Like,
writes
does-
and records the whole time.
Yeah, now he's just kind of like me and him will meet up like and write, and that's kind of like it. And then we'll send each other guys to pitch in as well. And then once we're
cool.
like satisfied, we hit the studio.
Do you have? Obviously, I'm just joking about Chris, but do you have a say in some of the music and like in the orchestration at all?
Oh yeah. Like I'm like the new songs you're hearing, I've been a very big part of.
Wow.
So like I can't play like any instruments well enough to play the music we do, but I kind of know what works.
Mhm.
It because like a lot of our music is kind of like centered around being like live music. So I'll kind of meet up with Chris and I'll be like, "Oh, I really want this part to hit this way because I know this is gonna pop off." Like,
That's a very
that-
like producer role.
come again?
That's like a very producer composer role.
Yeah, so that's kind of like I'll write the lyrics and like the vocal patterns and like help out with ideas for like the instrumentation and like structure.
Mhm.
But Chris is kind of like when it comes to all the nitty gritty, like with producing and recording and like writing the parts. That's like his bread and butter. That's
Yeah.
what he
Comes
does.
in with a nice solid base for it, and you kind of come in and tweak and say, "No, this is going to be way heavier if we do this
Yeah, exactly.
live." Yeah.
I'll also be
That's
the
great.
annoying guy that's like, "Can you make the guitar say bum bum dun dun?"
I love that you guys have all these like crazy sounds, like noises, like in between chugs. There's always like dun dun. Like, how the fuck does he come up with that stuff?
Some of it on the new album is like a vape we took and recorded and then distorted it.
A what? A
A
vape?
vape? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. we'll
That's
just
great.
sample weird shit and just throw a fuck ton of distortion on it. And well, we also have to like mention like our bass player Dennis that joined like almost 3 years ago now. He also produces electronic music, so a lot of the weird sounds and synthy stuff on the new album is him. He's
That's
really
cool.
good at finding weird sounds as well, and just being like, "Oh, I'm just gonna throw like a fuck ton of 10 different filters on it, and then it's gonna sound all fucking crazy."
That's a cool perspective to have coming in,
Yeah.
for this type of music you guys are. It's a, not many people are going to be having that ear for that stuff, which is really cool.
Yeah. So it's been really nice having him helping out with that. But everybody, like when it comes to writing, me and Chris are the main guys, but everybody kind of pitches in. Well, once we have something where we're like, we think this is pretty cool, we'll send it to the guys, and people can be like, actually no, try doing this. Like,
I have a challenge. I have a producing challenge for you and Chris. I just thought of it. This wasn't part of my notes or anything, and I just wanted to throw this out there. I want to challenge you to do an acoustic version of one of your albums.
It sounds so bad. Half of it is just chugging.
Or at least one song.
Maybe it's just like our music is so much like our joke is that like we only play ones and zeros, so all that stuff would sound so bad. Maybe
I actually think it would be funny though.
It would be funny, but would like not in a good way. It would be funny in like, oh, that's awful.
Spoof yourself in acoustic.
Yeah. Well, that's my challenge, to make it sound good. Do you ever sing, like actually fully sing?
A little bit, but not in Cabal. I have like sometimes I'll just mess around and do kind of like other types of music just for fun at home. I've put out like little tidbits of stuff, but I have like sometimes like I'm not super good at it. I can do a little bit, but sometimes it's just like I don't feel like I have the time to dive into that fully with everything else that's going on. So it's like every now and then I'll be like, actually, I want to try writing a sad little song or something like that.
Do you ever think about some of these singers like what's his name? Shit, Sonny Skrillex guy. Like he is a singer of a hardcore band, and then he got huge doing a side thing. Do you ever think about like doing your own thing that's like a mainstream type of thing?
Sometimes I've written a few like kind of like pop songs, kind of like leaning stuff. But then again, I also know how much shit goes into pushing that out to the level I'd want it to be at, and it's also not like I think with stuff like that, I like writing it more than like I just like writing it for fun.
Mm-hmm.
But with like metal music, I'm like, oh, I like writing and I love playing it.
You know what? But the stuff that you write for fun, that's usually the stuff that like pops off, right, Derek?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think if you the carefree flow of like just something that you need to get out. Right? I'm sure that goes both ways. I'm sure for Cabal it's the same way for you.
Yeah. But I think it's just like not a real priority for me. It's like I do a side project with some friends called John Connor, like this weird electronic. We usually call it doom rave, and like that has actually popped off. We this Saturday before we went to the techno club, we just went there as kind of like an after party. We played like almost sold out 1,500 cap venue, and that was like our 10th show in Denmark. So
wow,
that's pretty wild.
Yeah, we saw that sells more tickets than Cabal does, and it's like a collective of a bunch of metal musicians doing it, and all of our respective bands have been doing shit for ages and all doing well, but none of us sell tickets like that.
Right.
It's kind of weird, like, oh, this side kind of thing we have together for some reason just popped off. So like,
starting to go. That's awesome. What's that energy like for you? Like while you're doing those shows, is it similar or is it like a much more?
It's basically very aggressive music, just with electronic, like based around electronic elements instead of instruments. Like,
gotcha. Okay.
It's just me screaming over like really hard techno.
You still scream over that?
Yeah.
That's cool.
That is cool.
And it's online. I could actually listen to it right now.
Yeah. So it's called John and then Connor, but instead of the first O, it's an X.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah.
John CXNNOR.
That's very mid 2000s of you. I like that.
Yeah. It's just when the guys have to come up with it. It's based around the Terminator universe. Like John Connor is obviously gonna be really hard to like SEO wise. It's
Right.
You're gonna have to have a lot of traffic before you get more traffic than like the Terminator universe.
Is Terminator like? Is that gonna happen or what? Like Terminator into the Matrix? Are we on our way there?
I mean, like AI and stuff is kind of like the first step in that direction. Like, I don't know. I think the potential is there.
Yeah, let's hope it's a good version instead of the bad.
A very friendly Terminator.
I also do think like, in order for that to happen, I think there's some different like boundaries we have to cross that I think we won't. Like stuff doesn't just become sentient like on its own. You kind of have to allow it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's some crazy AI stories out there of these things trying to do stuff on their own. And I saw something the other day that was someone asked the Google one, the Gemini something, like to be an agent for it and create something, and it came back on its own and asked for $500 to pay it $500, and it tried to open a Cash App account and tried to get the guy to pay.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Well, maybe we're getting there. Maybe.
So I don't know. There would be a little further than they're leading on to.
Could be. Judgment Day is coming.
I feel like a lot of this art and movies, like it just like is I feel like reality follows it pretty well. Like that shit happens.
Sometimes it just predicts shit. Like
right, fucking nuts. Like look at The Simpsons. Now we got they predicted so much. Trump is definitely a time traveler. That guy's a fucking crazy dude.
Yeah, dude. It was like I loved the old Simpsons. Like now, like I think for me, like season 3 to maybe 12 or 13 is like really, really like good. And then I think everything they put out since is kind of trash.
Yeah, I haven't watched any new Simpsons really.
Oh, dude, don't do it. It's horrible.
Not worth it.
No, and it feels really bad because like I grew up in that shit, and it was like I love it so much that those like earlier seasons, they were like funny, satirical, had a little bit of bite to it, and now it's just watching like something you love that dearly just turned into like a pile of shit. Like
yeah, it makes you sad to watch.
Yeah, it's sad. It's just sad. I just feel like, oh, it used to be good.
It used to be so great.
Yeah, it used to be the best, and now it's just the worst.
It was like the king until what's his name came out with the Family Guy, and then I think that kind of buried it a little bit.
Yeah, it's also just because there's like completely new writers,
right?
Like the people who make The Simpsons good aren't working with The Simpsons anymore.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
So you're obviously into music videos, film and stuff like that. You're actually in it. How did you get involved with shooting, editing, and all of that stuff?
Just kind of through Cabal when we started out. I've always kind of like loved film, and then while I started out, I was just like I was kind of like writing all script is probably a strong word, but coming up with all the ideas for a visual a visual profile, if you will, and figuring out what needs to be in the music videos and stuff. Some of our like the early stuff with some of our friends who made it for us, and I kind of like started helping like them out, coming up with ideas for the bands. And then after a while, I was like, maybe I should also like try my hand at editing. I just did more and more stuff. I was like, oh, I kind of like this, and then it kind of just grew.
Are you using Premiere Pro?
Yeah.
I'm just learning that now. Like I said in the beginning of this episode that I'm not doing engineering. I'm doing like editing and all this stuff. I'm trying to do what you do.
Yeah.
But I find Premiere Pro to be very extensive and a little overwhelming, but it's amazing.
Yeah, you could do so much cool shit, but it is like I've been using it for years, but there's still stuff. I'll Google something to figure out something. I'm like, huh, can you do that? Like, it's
You do anything.
yeah, it's a massive program.
Did
But,
you
like, the whole
turn sorry, Andy. Did when you with your editing and stuff, when you started, you said with doing Cabal stuff and just kind of spiraling from there. Do you now do you just have people coming to you to edit stuff? Like, is that kind of like your side gig? How you make money?
Yeah, so I do a few things. Like I do music videos for other bands, like just like film shows if people need that. Like, but I have a degree in marketing, or like digital media communications and digital media, as it's called. But I've been working in digital marketing, primarily in music, most of my grown up life. So I do that like 10 to 15 hours a week. That kind of takes care of all all the bills, and then I'm Cabal, everything I make in Cabal helps, and then I do music videos when I have the time. So it's kind of like a lot of few things that kind of like blends together and makes me be able to survive and eat food every day.
perfect job to have for touring and things like that.
It is really good. Like, that's basically when most of the stuff I do, I just need to have my laptop and then I can work.
Yeah.
Do you do all the art for you guys?
I conceptualize it. I'm not a big I'm not that great with like Photoshop or InDesign, so a lot of times I'll maybe like do a mock-up and stuff, but then I'll hand it over to somebody who really knows what they're doing. So
yeah,
but
that is your ideas, mostly. Yeah, that's really cool.
That's sick. And how do you come up with the themes and visuals for your videos?
I just kind of like I'll watch. I'm a big horror movie fan.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the time I'll see something cool in a horror movie and be like, ooh, that's what we should do. Like, there's something here that kind of like I connect with and I feel like it's representative of maybe the theme of a song. But like, oh, I'm gonna steal that and like make my own version of it for a video.
That makes sense. Yeah, like your lyrical influence from horror is definitely taken. You could see it. It's evident everywhere. It's awesome. Fucking love horror. What are your biggest influences when diving into horror lyrically?
I think it's just kind of like the way it like horror is kind of like a way of working with, I don't know, sensitive subject matter might not be the right term, but working with dark themes, kind of way a lot of time working through trauma and stuff like that. And I think kind of like that kind of like inspires me to do the same thing like lyrically and stuff. Like our music, like lyric universe is kind of grim, but it's kind of like it's an outlet for dark stuff in the same way the horror is.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever think could you see yourself making a movie or writing a novel or something like that in the genre of horror?
Oh, maybe I would love to be involved in making a horror movie. I've made like a few like short horror movies with friends, like when I was younger. But yeah, I haven't. That's one of. I feel like that goes into the pile of things I'd do if I had more hours in like the day. There's so many things I would love to do, but I'm also very like, I want to do things properly. So like, and I feel like if I do too much at once, I'll just kind of like half-ass it, and it's not gonna be good. I would love to, but as long as like I'm doing music almost full time, I'm like, that's probably not gonna happen.
Yeah,
I think you could do it though. I could see you doing. I could see when you approach 40, you're gonna become like some kind of guru, like producer guy, director, writer.
That'd be sick.
Just watch. I'm predicting it here and now.
The next Rob Zombie.
Yeah, no joke. You're gonna be huge. I can see it. You're gonna be
House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects. Fucking sick.
Sick. So sick. Fucking love it. Obviously not, not all of your songs are about horror. There's a song about your grandfather's suicide,
Yeah.
Exit Wound, and that song, just reading those lyrics, it's really impactful. I was really diving into those lyrics and how you kind of like didn't get a chance to say goodbye. He took it upon himself to kind of just, it was kind of, you felt it look, if you, it made me feel like you felt like it was just this selfish thing. Like, how could you? Did you write that to kind of mourn and also memorialize him, or were you just like kind of pissed off at him while you were doing it?
No, I wasn't angry at him. I was really frustrated with the whole situation. He was like my favorite person in the entire world. He was like this kind of like crazy person. He was like the highest rank of doctor you could be. But he also had issues with like alcoholism and stuff like that, and depression. And but what happened was like he got diagnosed with cancer, and then he decided instead of going to a hospice, he just took his own life. So I kind of like, I'm not mad at him. I understand why he did it. I'm just really, really sad. I never really got to tell him how much he meant to me.
Mhm.
That was kind of devastating, and something that like took a while to get over, and still sometimes hurts. Like,
Does that come out, when you perform the song? Is that like something that will hit you, or like randomly, or is there any other songs as well that may
not
have a
as much,
theme?
not as much anymore. Like the first time we ever played it, I went home and cried after. Like,
Yeah.
I think grandparents are so special, man. And I had a very close bond with my grandfather that passed away, and I have dreams about him to this day. Like, I still like have dreams that like, oh wait, he faked his death or some shit. Like, I just like, fucking why? It's such a painful, like, death is such a painful fucking thought. When it's someone you really fucking care about, like a grandparent, man, like that's just. So you guys were, what you said, he meant so much to you, and he was one of your favorite people. Why was that? Did he help raise you or something? What was your bond with him?
I think the reason why he was like, I love all my grandparents, but he was like very special to me because I was like, uh, might not be a big surprise, but a little bit of a weird kid, and a little bit like, I felt like I didn't fit in to a lot of like I was like raised in kind of like a small town, like where everything is kind of like, there was maybe not like that much room to like be different.
Mhm.
But he just was this kind of person who had like a crazy life, never judged me for anything, would always be where other people would be like, oh, like get mad at me for stuff. He'd just be like, yeah, whatever. Like, I've done worse. Like,
He is the one person that made you feel normal, that
yeah,
he didn't bat an eye with your quote unquote weirdness. He was the
no,
one person in your life that was just, you were comfortable around him, and then he was gone.
yeah. That's like the one person I could tell anything. Like, I'm pretty open, but there's like some stuff. That's some stuff I'm not gonna tell my parents. Like, I've done like that. But with him, I could tell him whatever it was, no matter how crazy it is. He didn't fucking care. Wouldn't give me any grief for it.
Yeah. Is being into the extreme musics with your family, was that like something that was like, what is this, what's going on?
A little
Like,
bit. I don't think like my parents were pretty cool about it. Like, I don't think they necessarily get it, but they were never like super judgy or anything like that. Like,
right, they were cool, like, go for it, go tour, go do what you have to do.
I think they were very like, especially at first, be like, do focus on school, please focus on, please finish your education, stuff like that. They're both like high school teachers, so I've always been pushed to do good at school a lot, which, and I never really fit into school. I always did pretty decent academically, but it never felt fulfilling.
Right.
Because I'm pretty sure I have like untreated ADHD, so I'm like, just sitting down and listening is really hard for me.
Yeah.
I'm not good at that at all. Like, I'll fucking be bouncing off the walls and be a nuisance in class.
Yeah, it's
My-
tough. My school's experience was kind of, same. I was okay, nothing. But then like I went to college for like a semester and was like, nah, I'm gonna go tour now. Like this is not this is not for me.
Same here.
And then that was that.
Maybe all musicians are like untreated ADHD people.
I think there's a good percentage there. Like, I also just think like the educational system. Like, I'm a big fan. Like, I think education. Like, I'm happy. Like in Denmark, it's free. You get paid to go to school if you're like 18. I think the access to knowledge and education is very important. But I also just felt firsthand how it's not necessarily made for everybody. Like.
Yeah, definitely is not. Definitely.
I don't think it's made for everyone. I think especially in the States, you're so far in debt by going to school, and you're not guaranteed a job, and you're not like and when you get a job, it's not like the rate of inflation doesn't match our wages here, and it's fucking tough. It's really brutal.
Yeah,
I don't get it. I don't understand, but I think we need a little bit more of what you guys have going on, honestly.
I think it's like we pay some of the highest taxes in the world.
Yeah.
But it also, again, like it's kind of like distributing the wealth, which I'm a big fan of.
Yeah.
So again, like if I lose my job, I think I have 2 years to find a new job where I'll get paid like around $3,000 a month. So it's not a lot, but I can live. I can pay my rent.
Yeah.
Like
sure.
And then like free healthcare. Yeah, get paid to go to school. We have like a lot of good stuff that comes from the really high taxes. So like sometimes when you get your paycheck and you look at the tax, you're like, but and then if something goes wrong, you're like, oh, actually, I'm pretty happy about this.
That was worth it.
Yeah.
And what about health insurance? I'm only asking that because I now, for the first time, don't have a big boy job, and so I don't have health insurance. You guys, everyone is just like covered, right?
Yeah.
And it's actually good. It's actually decent.
It's decent. Yeah. It's definitely higher up there, like in the world rankings. I think. Like obviously, like also depends on where you are. In Copenhagen, like the population is way denser. So sometimes, like I broke my toe a couple of years ago, like big toe. I crushed it with a weight by accident. And I had to sit there for like 5 hours and it's bleeding everywhere because I crushed an artery. I'm like, come on.
Dude. Fuck.
Do you still have said toe?
Oh.
Yeah, I still have it.
Artery? I don't know why I'm so grossed out. I'm so
I have, if you're going to be gross, I have pictures of it.
Dude, I will actually throw up right now if you show me that.
It was bad. It was funny. Like it happened in the gym. I was like had to get some weights off a rack, and somebody had re-racked them wrong. So when I pulled on the one I needed, like 40-pound weight fell down. It like and hit my toe. And at first I was like, "Oh, this is just the impact. It's fine. I'm gonna do I did one set of like my bench press, and I was like, it still kind of fucking hurts. Like it usually, like if you stop your toe, you're like, it hurts really bad right now. Give it a couple of minutes, it kind of like subsides.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it hasn't gone away. I should probably go out and take my like workout shoe off and see. I was just pissing blood. I'm like, oh fuck. I went home. I walked home. Yeah, I'm gonna die. And then I was in my bed. I was living with a Christian, a guitarist at that point. And I was kind of contemplating what the fuck to do. And there was like a trail of blood into my room, and he came in and was like, what's going on? I was like, yeah, I think I hurt my toe. And I was like, I think you should go to the hospital. I'm like, yeah, maybe. I was like, dude, I'm driving into the hospital now.
Dude, why didn't you go straight to the hospital? You got free healthcare.
I don't know. I hate it's because then I have to sit there and it's ass and it's boring and maybe.
Dude, you're gonna sit there anyway. You're gonna sit in your room bleeding. You might as well.
Yeah, but in my room I have a TV. I have my computer.
This is a trail of blood from the gym all the way to your house, then to the hospital.
It was, I don't know. I've always been bad at going to the hospital. I just don't like it. I've dislocated my knees a bunch of times. Just put them in place myself and be like, yeah, I hope nothing is too bad. I'll just.
You know what? I'm the opposite. I'll tell you that. Like, I think I always have cancer, and I'm always gonna die. I think I have cancer right here, and I'm having a heart attack right here. I'm having a heart attack right here. I just go.
which is also I should go. It's we're paying for it through our taxes. You should just fucking use it. But I'm always like, I can't be bothered. I have to sit there and it sucks. And it's like,
You're sick.
Yeah, I feel that.
I'm just dumb.
feel that.
I'm
I'm
just
not a big fan of the
brave and
doctor.
dumb, kind of like.
Hey,
Oh,
how
that's
do you
crazy.
when you're screaming?
Yeah.
I feel like your vocals have only gotten stronger. But how do you develop that? Do you do vocal exercises, breathing exercises?
Practice. Like I think doing warm-ups was when I finally like. It took me a while to not suck. At first,
Really?
I feel like it took me longer than it should have to get kind of good. And then I started actually like being like I'll warm up and be more mindful of it. And then I was like, oh, I'm not hurting myself every practice, and then I can kind of progress. Wow, who would have known?
Is it just in like not trying to project, like kind of breathing it out instead of yelling? Like, what is the technique there?
It's kind of like pushing with your gut, I guess. And it's this at first, I think like when you're learning it, it's kind of counterintuitive because it sounds like something where you should be straining. It sounds strained, but it also kind of is, but you need to kind of like control where the strain is coming from. So like you need to like if you're tightening your throat, you're gonna hurt yourself. You're kind of fighting against what you want to happen, which is like you want the vocal cords to vibrate. And you can do that like by pushing out sound with your like diaphragm. But when you're starting out, you're thinking like if you're like yelling in anger, like on frustration, it's something else. You're doing that like with your throat and tensing. And that's kind of like the opposite of what you do. But when you're starting out, the only way you've ever produced any noise that kind of sounds like that is like when yelling.
Mm-hmm. Did you teach yourself or did you like go through it or
watch YouTube videos?
Yeah.
Zen of screaming?
No, actually, I a friend of mine gave it to me, but I couldn't. At that point, I was like too all over the place. I couldn't sit down and
You have to be so aware of like muscles that you're working that your body naturally does, and you don't even realize it, right? You actually have to like focus on like, what the fuck is going on in my body. That's actually probably a really, I don't want to say spiritual, but probably a deep experience. And maybe I'm over like complicating it. Like,
maybe I don't.
You know what I'm saying? Like getting good at something is fucking amazing, first of all. And so getting good at knowing your body. If you're screaming, you have to really know yourself that you're not going to hurt your throat. You have to like use your stomach and all that shit. I don't even know what that means.
It's just like a way of like pushing out sound, I guess. I think I've always been working out a lot, and I think that also helps because like it's kind of like the muscle to mind connection. Like
spiritual. That's spiritual, Derek.
Everything's spiritual to you. Andy thinks everything's spiritual, to be fair.
I don't think it's spiritual. I don't think it's spiritual. I think it's special. I think it's very no, I think humans are fucking special. I think we're like
a fun size.
Like, well, think about it, dude. I think we could do some cool shit we don't even know. I was told this like parable of like the flea. If you take a flea, a flea could just jump like 15 feet in the fucking air.
Yeah.
Or meters. I don't know what you guys say over there. You know what I'm saying? Meters. Like we're freaking stupid. We're dumb.
We have the metric system, which makes sense. I do
it
not
makes sense. No, I get
everyone uses.
Yeah, I agree. We need to change that too. We're going. All right.
Please we'll change because I don't get the other shit. Like every time I'm over here, I'm like, people ask me about something with fucking feet or inches.
Like why is it 12 inches? That doesn't make any sense.
Feet are different sizes as well. Like that, like
yeah. But back to my parable, Andreas, the flea could jump 15 meters in the air. Okay, I don't know if that's true, but I'm just saying they could jump high. And then if you put them in a little fucking jar and teach them to only jump that high, you could eventually take the top off and they forget and they could procreate, and then their flea babies and their lineage will only jump so high. So I'm just thinking maybe we're just jumping so high and we're capable of doing some cool shit.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like you constantly like find people who are able to like push the boundaries of what the body can do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Andy, is that true? That flea thing you said?
Yeah, it
Is
is
that real?
true.
Someone
is
did
real.
that?
Yeah, it's real. I don't know if it's fleas. I'm just saying flea for the bit.
Okay.
But like it's
No, it
and
is. It is
also
pretty cool.
it is a true thing. Yeah. I don't it is one of those jumping bugs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fleas are good jumpers.
Yeah.
And also considering like their size, like if you could like jump kind of like the same amount compared to like your body size, it would be insane.
That would be pretty
Yeah.
insane.
That would
Andy,
be
get working on it. I want to see you
No.
jumping 15 meters next time I see you.
Well, like I think under certain stresses, like I've read stories that mothers have lifted cars up far enough to get their baby out from under it. Like under
Mhm.
certain stresses, humans are capable of like amazing things. And how do
Yeah.
we harness that? This podcast is taking a weird turn, but you know what I mean? But it's true. I'm fascinated by that, Andreas.
Yeah, it is fascinating. Like you can like when you read stuff like that, a lot of the time you're like, how the fuck does that like?
And what that means, you know, what I'm interested in is what are you capable of now when you put yourself to the test?
I don't know, a
Yeah.
lot of stuff, I guess.
No, I'm just saying it's a rhetorical because I think that it's through the roof. You're going to be doing some crazy shit in your life, and I just can't wait to see you be the next Tarantino of horror.
That'd be sick. Like, I think that would take. I am a very like I'm a always with stuff like I'm such a realist. Like I like to dream, but I'm not very good at it because I'm also I analyze a lot of stuff. I'll be like, yeah, it's a cool dream, but it would take me doing this, and this. So like, yeah, and I'm currently doing none of it. So
No, I disagree. Look, you're an artist
mean,
on the
yeah.
road. Everyone has to. You have to be a dreamer. You have
Yeah.
to.
but I'm a very realistic dreamer, if that makes sense. Like so,
Sure.
like with music, I have no desire to necessarily be the biggest band in the world. I don't even give a fuck about that. I just want to reach a level where I can do this and live comfortably. That's all I care. Like some like I like to have goals more than dreams, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I think that mindset is what gets bands to be the biggest band. Right? Like
maybe. Yeah.
I don't think anybody planned that they were going to be the biggest band in the world.
No, but you will hear people say that, like, be like, I want to be the biggest, and I'll always go like, okay, I guess, like, how are you gonna do that? Like, that's do you have
No,
like
for
a
sure.
plan?
There's definitely people have that, put it out there to the world kind of thing. But
Yeah,
work the hard work and like I like what we're doing, and I mean, obviously it's gotten you to where you are now, which is much much further than most people get to, right? With that
yeah,
same
yeah,
mentality. Right? So like it just grows. Like I think even if you look at it like goals, right? Your goals are always going to be bigger and bigger
yeah.
as you take the steps.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get like I guess it's kind of an expectation thing.
Yeah.
Of like if you have high expectations, then you get disappointed when you reach even cool goals and you kind of miss them.
Yeah.
In that kind of same vein, are you able to like step back and like appreciate where you're at and like the things that are happening to you, or is it kind of like just full bore blur and like, oh shit, here we are kind of thing?
I try to be better. I sometimes just take me and the guys will every now and then we'll be like, let's just actually talk about where we are right now, because when we started out we had like no expectations. We were like, we just wanted to play some breakdowns, play some shows. Hopefully somebody would come out to the shows.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden it's kind of like become all of our jobs, and like I mean like yeah, but I am pretty bad at not being like, every time we reach a goal I'm like, okay, cool, next step. Like
Right.
I'm trying to be more mindful of not like of actually like just enjoying a little bit. But I also don't want to be like, where I'm like, oh, I did this cool thing. I'm just gonna keep talking about this for like the next half year and not get anything else done. Like,
right. No, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I'm trying to enjoy it while still staying like productive and hungry, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Keep your focus.
Yeah.
Because it is. I mean, you know, and it's the same, right? Everybody's like, when you start, oh, we want to get signed, I want to be on a record label, and then you get there and you're like, oh shit, like that was nothing. Now, like the real game, now the real game starts, and it's 100 times more difficult.
So true.
There.
That is the thing. Like when we achieved a lot of the things that I was like, I didn't dream of, I was like, oh shit, like, but not now the real work begins, as you say, like, but it's fun thinking back at it when you were like just starting out. A lot of the stuff that we've done now, back then I would have maybe thought of like, oh, you made it now, and you're like, no, actually, it's even more work now.
you just started.
Dude, I know. I remember being a kid and going to shows and being like, I want that life. I want that. And you don't even realize how much shit you have to eat. You have to like, you're just gonna break down on the road, be stuck in some desert, or you have to, you're in the van and you have to shit and there's no bathroom in sight. And you have to sleep on people's floors until I mean, I'm sure I think at the level that you guys are at, though, you guys are probably reaping a lot of what you've sown. Like it looks like now you're on Nuclear Blast, right? You're doing like great stuff. So I think that your trajectory is huge.
We do not have to sleep on people's floors most of the time.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So
that's what I'm saying. Like I'm sure you had to suffer for a bit though.
Oh yeah, we've done it. Like we played to know people and like all that stuff. Like driving 10 hours playing to 10 people who don't give a fuck about you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
the joys of being a musician.
Yeah. There's been a few nights where you're like, when it's one of those things and you're like sleeping at some weird punk squad in Eastern Europe, played a shitty show, nothing to eat, and just like trying to sleep and be like, why was I doing this again?
But now I'm sure you see people singing along with you and you're like, oh, this is why. Yeah. Right? Like, oh shit. Yeah. Is there ever a point where it doesn't affect you, or it's just like business as usual, or are you still affected by people's presence and care for your band?
I think I've gotten a bit more used to it, but it will never stop impacting me. Like when people care about something, like me and my friends did, like a stupid little breakdown project that's still kind of fucking amazing to me.
That is amazing. It is.
It is. It's weird sometimes when I see people at the other side of the planet knowing the words to a song I wrote in my shitty little room in Copenhagen.
Dude, it's such a cool concept. Oh, like the fact that you could reach the whole world.
Yes, it is kind of wild. Like, and that will always be very special to me. That something that means this much to us also means that much to a person I've never met before.
Yeah. What are some significant milestones that you hit that you wanted to check off and you guys had that you guys accomplished? And what are the next row of goals and accomplishments? I
feel like at first it was just kind of like getting to tour in America. I was like, oh shit, we got to tour Japan. Like at first it was kind of just like going to all of these crazy places all over the world that I don't think I necessarily would have gone to without music. That was like a big one for me. It was like, oh, I got to see all of this, like just from again yelling over breakdown, like this is fucking crazy. Like
that's so cool.
And then it started being like, oh, we actually get paid to do it now. Like we're not losing money touring; it's actually paying the bills and stuff like that. Yeah, it's like not coming home being broke. It's like, oh fuck, I actually came.
Who would have thought a breakdown would have gotten you all this?
Yeah, it's
just had a harem of women around you in a freaking tour bus. No,
I wish.
Dude, I went like this, and my camera just started doing weird shit. Let me see if it does anything right now. No. Every episode, my camera has freaked out. and it zooms in my face like hardcore. But so what's next for Cabal's goals? Like what is the next thing that you guys want to accomplish? You've toured everywhere pretty much, right?
Yeah, the next big one is basically I do want to, like, we haven't toured that much of Asia. We've toured Japan. I really want to tour like more of like South Asia, just because it's a part of the world I haven't really been to, so I want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And then like just more tours with cool bands. I think the big goal now is like I want to reach a point where we don't have to do anything else than Cabal, because now we're at a stage every time we go on tour, everybody gets paid, but it's not enough like for us to just live off of that only. But that's the point I want to go to, where like touring 45 months a year, that's all I need to do. And then I can do other stuff on the side if I want to, not because I have to.
It's a good goal.
Yeah.
We have a little segment for you. It's rapid fire questions with Derek G. Derek G.
That was fancy. I like that. Yeah, so we got a bunch of stuff here. I will rifle through some. We'll make it quick, and we'll see what we got. So, if you could be any horror movie villain, who are you?
I was about to say Freddy Krueger, but I remembered he's like a child molester, so that's the dream stuff is cool though.
Solid call. half of his stuff is cool.
Yeah, the other, I want to be him without the kid diddling stuff.
Okay, Freddy Krueger, no kid diddling. Got it. Biggest fear?
Becoming like this weird, like almost made kind of like like that person you meet at a bar who's like drunk and be like, I actually was in a band once. I'm just like becoming like a burnout has-been that can't let go of the past.
Oh my god, I relate to that.
Yeah, I don't want to give you that. I think that's
funny,
us, but I don't
want to be us.
I don't want to be us either. Fuck. I'm so scared.
Andreas doesn't want to be the tour buds when he grows up.
Also, going like crazy is also one of my big fears, because we have like a lot of mental illness in my family, like schizophrenia and shit. So I've seen that firsthand. That does not look fun.
That's and
I know that's I'm genetically just like prone to it. So I'm like, sometimes I'll be like, I'm like, I'm going crazy. Is it happening? It's like,
you forget something and you like start to panic.
Yes, or sometimes I'll be like reacting a certain way, having like thoughts. I'm like, oh fuck, is it now?
Okay. If you woke up as one of your ancestor Vikings, what would be your first attack?
My first attack?
The first thing you would do if you woke up as a Viking in Viking times.
Probably have to go take a dump somewhere horrible and not having time.
Would you just attack someone and say for Valhalla, like just fucking fuck someone up?
I think they just went on raids. I think they were like a little bit more organized about it.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I would probably eat some horrible food that wasn't like seasoned at all, smell really bad.
Hey, I was reborn. It's not this to completely shut this bit up. Okay, I want you to keep going, Derek. But I was actually reborn in Lake Vättern in Sweden. So I'm actually kind of like a Viking through that lake.
Okay, how does that work?
We're so similar. Well, I baptized myself in the lake. And I came out of
myself. That's the thing. I think like Vikings weren't baptized.
Well, I created it, man. Come on, let me have this moment. It's not a Christian thing. It's just like a new Viking thing. It's like the new Vikings. What the new Vikings do. We're a new breed, man. Come on. All right, sorry.
All right, no, we're good. Little would you rather's. Would you rather be haunted by a very nice ghost or stalked by a demon?
Oh, I'll take the nice ghost.
That's fair. I feel like that was an easy one.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got here. Would you rather listen to one song on repeat forever or never be able to listen to music again?
I'll take the one song. I think I'm I will obsess over songs.
What's your obsession right now?
Uh, really
What
bad.
song?
There's this guy called Clever, who's made a song with NLE Chopper called "Stick by My Side." It's like this kind of like trap kind of thing. It's like
Okay.
less than 2 minutes. Super ignorant, fucking hilarious. I love it. I listen to it once a day every day.
Good answer.
That's an easy one. Let's see what else we got here. If you could bring one musician back from the dead to collab with Cabal, or I guess a living one as well, who would it be?
I was about like before before you said collabing with Cabal.
Well, let's take Cabal out. Just you in
collab.
general.
Yeah.
Collab.
Oh, Kurt Cobain, just because like Nirvana was the first band like that I picked for myself when I was 8 years old. I don't even know how I knew who they were, but some reason I found out who they were, and for Christmas when I was 8, I got like the Nevermind CD, and I was like I listened to it several times a day, every day for like years.
That's a
And
good
that
one.
was like my way into like music.
Dude, same. That grunge era there was nothing like it.
Dude, it's so
Yeah.
sick.
There was nothing like that era.
So
And it was incredible. They were just so pissed, but also his interviews were so chill. He just didn't give a fuck. He kind of has your attitude. I don't want to see the fucking ending for you, okay, man?
no, dude, I'm way past 27 now, so it doesn't make sense to kill myself anymore.
Good.
Let's see. Some of these you've answered, I think. Dumbest injury. I mean, that you ripped your toe off with the weight. That's a tough one.
Disgusting.
Have you done anything else to yourself that was rough?
Dude, I've gotten hurt so many times because, especially as a kid. I once like cut off a good chunk of like my finger with what's it called, like
God, dude.
the thing you hang your clothes up to dry, a drying rack, is that what it's called?
Like a clothesline?
Yeah, no, but like the ones you can kind of fold out.
Oh yeah.
And there's like the metal part in the middle, and I was like, I wasn't that old. I was like 7 or something. I had to fold one of those out. Didn't think about my fingers in it. I just folded it out, and then I looked up, and it was like blood, like spraying, and it was like a piece of like. I was just in a panic, just running around.
That's rough.
It wasn't great.
Did it fall off, or you just like they sew it up?
Oh yeah, they had to sew it up.
They sewed it back on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they couldn't sew it back. They just have to close it. Do it.
Oof.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like a good chunk of flesh in that. Like.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
That's a good
I
one.
can't even handle the thought of it. I don't know why I'm such a pussy.
Best experience with a fan.
Okay, so I met a guy who had a portrait tattooed of me on the last tour we did.
They had a what? A portrait?
A portrait of me on this entire. I was like, yo, what the fuck?
Was that was that cool or weird or both?
He was a really nice dude, so it made it cool. When I saw it at first, I was like, oh, it could go both ways. It could get really creepy. But yeah,
he's like, I want to wear you.
Yeah,
I want you to. You'd be a great lampshade for my living room.
Yeah, exactly. I've also had like a bunch of people I've met that started out as like, I guess, fans who are now people I consider my really good friends.
Yeah.
Which I always think it's very cool.
Yeah, that's one of the best parts of touring is getting, meeting good friends all over the place.
Yeah.
When you guys are touring, what's a must-have food snack item?
In the States, I'm a big Taco Bell guy.
Love it. That's a tough touring food, but
Dude, I love it. I'm a vegetarian, delicious. So like, and they have the cheesy bean burritos, and they're like so fucking cheap. I can get four for like $7 or something like that. I just have 3 of them, and I'm like completely stuffed.
Love it. Let's see.
I agree.
What's a band or artist that your fans and people wouldn't expect you to be a fan of?
Oh fuck yeah! I just really love ignorant hip hop. So I'm a big Gucci Mane fan. like
Okay.
especially his early stuff. I don't know if that.
Yeah, that's probably. I'm sure people will be surprised at that.
Yeah,
But I assume it seems like you're. I mean, kind of. I feel like Andy and myself are the same. Like I listen to everything under
Yeah,
the
same.
sun, pretty much.
yeah,
Yeah.
And people are like, "Oh, really? Like you listen to that after all the the heavy metal?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's a kind of what I mostly listen to. I don't.
yeah. It's
I listen to heavy stuff, but like I listen to lots of other things more.
yeah. It's
I feel
also
like.
especially as a musician, like you need to listen to other stuff if you want to like when you want to do like when we write. I try not to listen to too much metal because I'm like if I listen to fuck ton of other bands, we're just gonna end up sounding like them.
Yeah.
That
Like,
is so interesting. I never thought of that. I did the opposite. And I agree. That is interesting. So you could be more unique.
yeah, I mean, obviously you need to listen to some metal at some point, like to have like idea. But like, if you only listen to like, if I only listen to deathcore bands, there's a real chance that like what we would churn out would just sound like a copy of every other deathcore band.
Yeah, chasing sound. All good successful bands don't chase sounds.
Nah,
And I feel like there's a lot of bands who do and they last for an album or so.
yeah, it's just a really good like. I think it's a good exercise to listen to something completely different from what you're doing and be like, oh, what in this song or this kind of genre can I kind of like draw from in what I'm doing, even though it's like vastly like different.
Yeah. One last one, kind of a two-part. We'll call it two questions in one. Your favorite show that you've ever played and the wildest, most chaotic show you've ever played.
Oh, that's a hard one. I think my favorite show I've ever played is probably when we did our first like headline tour in Europe, and we ended in our hometown of Copenhagen. And that show was normally like Denmark is a little bit subdued. It's can be a little bit hard to get people going, but for some reason it felt like it didn't feel like Denmark in that show. It was like it was sold out room, and people were just constantly stage diving. Like it was wild. It like I don't know if you ever watched the Hate Pipe 6 videos.
Yeah.
It felt like something like that, and that's usually not what Denmark feels like. It's even a good show in Denmark is pretty subdued normally. Like people can get rowdy, but it's not like that.
Yeah.
I
And
think
that was that, do you think that was because of you guys like coming back from tour and like kind of on your first headliner?
yeah, I
A lot
think
of friends
it just felt
and
super special. Me and the other guys were looking at each other during the set several times. We're like, "Are you fucking seeing this? Like, what's going on?"
that's awesome. That's like a, I feel like a great and also very meaningful, fulfilling kind of show. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know
definitely.
if you like sort of when I was touring, like you always have like your home shows, but like it's you can only do it so much, so it kind of becomes like normal. Like people are like,
Yeah,
oh, they're playing here again. So like when you get to come
exactly.
home and get that huge
Yeah,
pop and burst, it's always
yeah,
like such a good fulfill. Like okay, people do appreciate what's happening and what we're doing and things like that. So
yeah,
that's a great one.
yeah. Because
Um,
it's usually good when we play here. Like a lot of people come out, and like it's not like people are just gonna stand still and stare at us. But this was just next level, and I
yeah.
haven't really seen anything like it in Copenhagen since.
You're chasing the dragon.
Yeah, it
And
was fucking wild.
I'll never be the same.
Nah,
Dude, you know what? Like I played in so many different bands and so many different genres, but if I go back to heavy music with breakdowns and just like ignorant heavy shit, there's nothing like that energy when there's a crowd that's into it. There's nothing
nah,
like I played pop, I played hip hop, I played indie shit, that just heavy fucking music with that energy with people fucking going ape shit is the best.
it's it's like I think that's also why I've stuck to like listening, like being such a fan of heavy music always. It's just because I've been to a fuck ton of shows, like more than I can count with everything else as well. But I've never found anything that kind of like has that same energy as you're talking about, like like a crazy like metal or hardcore show. Like it's unlike anything you find anywhere else.
I
Yep.
agree.
That
That was a
that's why we
beautiful
all love it.
segment. That was a beautiful segment. Rapid fire with
Derek.
That was great.
Thank you, Andy.
That was awesome. Andreas, you've been a gem today. We've really appreciated chatting with you. You have a new album coming out, Everything Rots, in March, courtesy of Pokio 56, asking relentlessly in the comments section. That is, thank you, Pokio 55.
Yeah, Pokio 55.
Pokio 55 relentlessly got his wish. Everything Rots. What are we gonna expect? You already have some songs out from that album, which are fucking sick. But what are we expecting from the rest of the album?
More of that kind of stuff. Just like I'd say it's our fastest and most abrasive album yet. It's a bit more kind of simplistic in some way. It's more noisy. It's just more aggressive, and like, yeah, I think that's it. Like, it's also the album where I've been the most involved in like instrumentals, producing it. So it's dumber.
That's great. What's touring plans coming up?
Yeah, so we're doing a full Europe tour in April with a Cali band in Hartswijk and Assemble the Chariots. Then we have a bunch of festivals in Europe. We have something that hasn't been announced yet in Europe. We have for fall. We have a lot of stuff coming up. Just I can't really talk about it yet.
Yeah, fair. Well, make sure you let us know when you come visit us next.
We'll come back to the States as soon as possible.
Oh, hey, real quick. I know that you are into fitness and health and all that stuff. I know from firsthand how hard it is to do that on the road. For those of you who have never toured, it's really hard because you're in a van all the time. And then when you're not, you're kind of like sitting around in either a hotel or somewhere or a mall. It's kind of hard. But how do you stay healthy? How do you stay fit?
In the States, it's fucking easy because we usually just rent an RV. And then we'll sleep at a Planet Fitness parking lot. And I'll just, first thing in the morning when I wake up, I go in, work out for an hour or so, have a shower, and hit the road again.
That's
Andy. I've learned that bands have evolved from Walmarts and things to Planet Fitness. That seems to be the new band hangout.
It is so sick. Like, again, you can shower. Like in Europe, we're used to most venues having showers and stuff like that. It's not the case in the States.
No, it's quite the opposite, actually.
Yeah. So we'll be there anyway to shower, so might as well work out. In Europe, I'll bring resistant bands, like a skipping rope and some stuff, and I'll do like body weight training. So we try.
Do you have a partner, though? Do you have someone in the band that you work out with, or are you solo?
Everybody in our band works out. So especially me and our bass player Dennis, a big like gym nerds. Our new drummer Mikkel works out a lot as well, and our guitarist Christian has also really gotten into it. So we're just we jokingly call ourselves a chat band because we just play breakdowns and work out.
That's great.
What will you ever do like a fun promo shoot where it's like ridiculous and you have your shirts off, like a model-esque?
We've done all the the videos, the workout with us videos, no shirts on, just us flexing.
I've seen some of them on Instagram and stuff.
That's awesome. I gotta check those out. I need that.
We've jokingly talked about doing a lewd Cabal calendar for years. We just never really got around to do it.
Dude, oh my god. I will buy a slew of them and just post them up everywhere in the city.
Well, if I know us, we'll do it at some point. I think with all the fun stuff, it's it takes a backseat to us doing what we actually have to do, and we'll just keep talking about it. And then at one point, we'll be like, actually, now we have the time. Now's the moment to do something really dumb.
Someone's got to be like a firefighter. Someone's like a police officer.
Yeah, we got to do all the fucking cliches.
All the cliches, yes. Construction worker and all that shit.
Yeah, full
Dude, it's been a pleasure talking with you. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Likewise, guys.
Everyone, Andreas from Cabal, we appreciate him. Thank you so much. We'll chat with you soon, and when you're here, please hit us up.
Will do.
Yeah, and before we go, next week we've got Tim from Within the Ruins, or used to be from Within the Ruins, on next week, Thursday, 7:30 Eastern. So tune in, and we'll catch you guys next time. Later.